Hi, preschool friends. Today we've been talking about insects and how they eat and what they like to eat. And so far we found out that some insects, like butterflies, have something called a proboscis, and that helps them to drink the nectar out of flowers. And other insects have something called a mandible, and that helps them to eat bigger pieces of food. So in this story, Monarch Butterfly, we're going to learn about one of the insects that has a proboscis, a monarch butterfly. This book is written and illustrated by Gail Gibbons. So that means she wrote the words and she drew the pictures. Let's read together and find out more about the monarch butterfly. Monarch Butterfly by Gail Gibbons. A monarch butterfly settles on the leaf of a milkweed plant. Milkweed is the kind of plants that monarch caterpillars need to eat. She gently presses a tiny egg onto one of its leaves. The egg is the beginning of another. There's the little egg. It's summertime in the north. A breeze stirs the stem of the milkweed plant. The monarch egg is white and shiny. It is the size of a small dot and sticks to the leaf. You can see monarch butterflies flying around outside. When the butterfly lays the egg, she makes it sticky. Wind and rain cannot make the egg come loose. There's the egg, holding on through the wind and rain. In a few days, the egg hatches. Out crawls a small caterpillar, also called a larva. First, the caterpillar eats the eggshell and then chews away at the milkweed leaf. The egg of a monarch is almost always laid on a milkweed plant. The plant will be its food. So there's the tiny caterpillar chomping up that milkweed leaf. The caterpillar eats and grows and begins to change. It breaks out of its old skin, showing a new skin underneath. Do you remember what that's called? When they get too big for their exoskeleton, they wiggle out of it. It's called molting. For 2 weeks, the caterpillar eats and eats. It molts about 5 times. Finally, it is full-grown monarch caterpillar, about 2 inches long. Now something wonderful begins to happen. The caterpillar creeps to the stem of a leaf. It attaches itself to the stem and drops down head first. The caterpillar's bright colors become greenish. So there's the caterpillar hanging from the leaf. Then the skin splits and moves up to the top. The skin falls off. A new, strange form appears. It is called the chrysalis or pupa. The chrysalis is like a blanket that is wrapped around the body, growing inside. So this time when they get that big and their exoskeleton isn't helping them anymore, they split out of it and it becomes a chrysalis. At first the chrysalis is long and soft, then it shrinks and hardens and becomes light green, decorated with gold dots. Inside, the monarch butterfly begins to grow. So this is the chrysalis. You might have heard it be called a cocoon before. So inside there, the monarch caterpillar is turning into a butterfly. About 2 weeks later, the chrysalis changes again. It turns gray-green before becoming transparent. Transparent means you can see through it. Inside are white dots and orange and black lines. The chrysalis wiggles, then it splits open. The butterfly begins to pull itself out. The head and the legs appear first, and then the rest of it slides out. So there's the monarch butterfly coming out of the cocoon. And this is showing that this is its abdomen. Remember, that's one of the 3 parts of an insect. The wings are tiny and stuck together, and the butterfly's abdomen is big. The abdomen becomes smaller when its fluid is pumped into the wings. The wings become bigger. A caterpillar has turned into a butterfly. Do you remember what it's called when an insect changes from one thing to another? It was a really big word. Metamorphosis. So when the caterpillar turns into the butterfly, it is called metamorphosis. The butterfly sits quietly for a few hours waiting for its wings to dry and harden. At last they begin to move slowly and then beat faster and faster. So they sit on the milkweed plant and they dry out their wings because when they first come out, they're kind of weak and wet. And it sounds like they need to spend some time drying and getting them stronger and harder so that they can fly. The butterfly flutters up toward the sky. Monarchs have a bad taste and will make a bird or animal sick if they are eaten, so most of them are left alone. So do you remember one of the ways that an insect protects itself is by not only having brightly colored markings or wings, but also some of them make that bad smell or they taste bad. So it looks like a monarch has three things actually. They have an exoskeleton, then they have those brightly colored wings, and they taste bad and can make the predator sick. So here are the parts of the butterfly. It says there are many parts to a butterfly. They have their wings, they have antennas, and here is their proboscis. It says the tube to the mouth is called the proboscis. It sucks up sweet juice called nectar from flowers. So there is the proboscis in this picture. The monarch butterfly only flies during the day. When it rains, the butterfly stays dry, hidden under leaves. So this butterfly really knows how to protect itself. Fall is on the way. Soon it will be cold. If the monarch butterfly doesn't fly south, it will die. Once again, it darts up into the sky. Darts means it flies up quickly. The butterfly will take a long trip to a warmer place. This is called migration. So when you move from one place to another, it's called migration. The monarch will fly to where its ancestors have always gone, sometimes to the same tree. Ancestors mean like the butterflies that came before it. So like its mother, its grandmother, its great-grandmother are its ancestors. And it's the same for you. Your ancestors are your grandparents, your parents, your great-grandparents, and it keeps going back further and further. Those are your ancestors. Other monarchs keep appearing, making a cloud of orange in the sky. At night, they rest in trees. Sometimes they fly up to 12 miles an hour and almost 100 miles in one day. There could be over 1,000 butterflies traveling together. Could you imagine seeing 1,000 butterflies? That's a lot of butterflies, and I betcha it looks really beautiful. They fly to places such as Florida, Southern California, and Mexico. Some butterflies migrate 4,000 miles. They will stay south throughout the winter. So they go from places like Michigan, that's where we are now, and then they go to Florida or Mexico or even California. Those might be some places that you go to in the winter too. Do you see monarch butterflies when you play outside in Michigan? Me too. I always see them flying around. I can tell it's them because they're brightly colored orange. Some towns and cities are proud to have the butterflies visit them. They have festivals to celebrate their arrival. Children dress up for parades in butterfly costumes. Sometimes there's a band and visitors come from all around. Monarchs can cluster together, thousands of them clinging to one tree. It's a butterfly tree. In the spring, these butterflies will migrate north again to the fields of milkweed plants. So So they start in the north, then they migrate to the south, and then after winter, they start in the south and they migrate back to the north. And this says how to raise a monarch butterfly. And I think we're going to do this when we get to the point of our study where we find out how um, caterpillars change into butterflies. We're going to go on a caterpillar hunt and try to find one. So that is the end of our story. And what I would love for you to do now is to tell me how, if you lived in a town where the butterflies came to thousands and thousands of butterflies, how would you celebrate the butterfly? Would you dress up in a costume? Would you have a party? Would you just go out and watch the butterflies fly through your town? How would you celebrate them arriving? I can't wait to see what you come up with. Draw me a picture and have someone post it. See you next time, preschoolers.